The first sign came from a junior analyst at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station. It was 3:47 a.m. when the young man's coffee cup slipped from his fingers, shattering on the floor as he stared at his screen in disbelief. "Sir," he called out, his voice cracking. "You need to see this." The night shift supervisor, Tom Walker, hurried over, ready to dismiss another false alarm. But as his eyes scanned the readings, his face turned pale. The objects had appeared suddenly at the edge of their detection range, massive structures decelerating from speeds that should have been impossible. Within hours, every major space agency on Earth was buzzing with activity. The Chinese spotted them through their new quantum telescopes. The Europeans tracked them with their gravity wave detectors. The Russians' deep space radar confirmed what everyone was seeing. A fleet of ships, each one larger than Manhattan, was entering the solar system. Admiral James Thompson stood in the United Earth Defense Force's underground command center, studying the holographic display of the solar system. Red dots marked the positions of the unknown vessels, 12 in total, moving with precision that spoke of advanced technology and military discipline. "How long until the public notices?" he asked, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of the display. "Hours at most," replied his intelligence chief. "Amateur astronomers are already posting about unusual readings on their forums. We can't keep this quiet for long." Thompson nodded, running a hand through his gray hair. 10 years of preparing for this moment, and it still felt too soon. He pressed a button on his command console, initiating the protocol they had hoped they'd never need. "This is Admiral Thompson. Authorization code Delta 79 Echo. Initiate protocol, Watchman." Across the globe, hidden facilities hummed to life. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean, beneath the Antarctic ice, and in secret mountain bunkers, systems that had been waiting for years began their startup sequences. Humanity had not been idle during its time alone among the stars. The President of the United States stood before the hastily assembled UN Security Council, her face grim but composed. The emergency meeting had been called with only 30 minutes' notice, yet every major world leader was present, either in person or through secure holographic projections. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "what we've prepared for, what we've feared, has arrived. We are not alone, and they have found us." The room erupted in controlled chaos. Questions flew from all directions, but they fell silent as the main screen lit up with the first clear images of the vessels. They were beautiful in a terrifying way. Sleek shapes of dark metal and pulsing energy, arranged in a formation that could only be military in nature. At that moment, in observatories and tracking stations worldwide, a new signal began broadcasting. It was powerful, clear, and directed specifically at Earth's major communication centers. The message was being transmitted in over 200 human languages simultaneously. "People of Earth," it began, "we come as representatives of the Galactic Imperial Collective." Admiral Thompson listened to the message in his command center, his face unreadable. The words were peaceful, diplomatic, an invitation to join their empire, to benefit from their advanced civilization. But Thompson had spent his career studying military strategy. He recognized an invasion force when he saw one. "Send word to Dr. Wells," he ordered quietly. "Tell her it's time to accelerate Project Horizon. And contact all fleet commanders. Initiate silent deployment of our lunar defense forces." As the world above began to learn of humanity's new reality, deep beneath the Earth's surface, wheels were already in motion. Humanity had known this day would come. They had prepared in secret, developed technologies that would shock their would-be conquerors, and built defenses that no one outside a select few knew existed. The Empire thought they were approaching a primitive world, easy prey for their expansion. They were about to learn how wrong they were. But for now, humanity would wait, watch, and let the Empire believe they held all the cards. After all, the best advantage was one your opponent didn't know you had. 3 days after the initial contact, the Empire's diplomatic vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere. It was smaller than the others, but still impressive. a gleaming silver craft the size of a cruise ship that moved without a sound. The chosen landing site was a specially prepared area in Geneva, neutral ground that had been agreed upon by Earth's nations. Captain Robert Miller stood at the front of the welcoming committee, his dress uniform crisp despite the wind. As humanity's chosen representative, he carried the weight of billions on his shoulders. Behind him stood a carefully selected group of Earth's leaders, scientists, and military personnel. The ship's landing was perfect, almost theatrical in its precision. A soft hum filled the air as a ramp extended from its side, touching the ground with a gentle tap. The assembled crowd held its breath. Imperial Delegate Marcus stepped out first. He looked surprisingly human, too human, some would later say. His silver uniform sparkled in the sunlight, and his smile seemed practiced, perfect. Behind him came 6 guards in dark armor that seemed to swallow light itself. "Welcome to Earth," Miller said, stepping forward with his hand extended in greeting. Marcus looked at the offered hand for a moment before taking it. His grip was firm, his skin cool to the touch. "The Empire thanks you for this welcome," he said in perfect English. "We look forward to discussing Earth's integration into our collective." The meeting moved to the newly constructed diplomatic center. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a view of the Alps, while hidden sensors analyzed every breath and movement of their visitors. Dr. Wells, watching from a secure room below, studied the readings with intense interest. "Their technology is advanced," she whispered to Admiral Thompson through their secure link, "but not as advanced as they want us to believe. Those suits they're wearing, they're using principles we cracked 2 years ago." Thompson's reply was equally quiet. "Keep monitoring. Let them think we're impressed." Above, Marcus was presenting the Empire's offer. His holographic display filled the room with images of advanced cities, pristine worlds, and technological marvels. "All this could be yours," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "The Empire brings prosperity to all its members." Miller noticed what wasn't being said. There were no images of the Empire's original member worlds, no mention of their independence after joining. His military training helped him spot the carefully hidden threats in Marcus's words. "And if we choose not to join?" one of Earth's leaders asked. Marcus's smile didn't waver. "The Empire has found that all civilized worlds eventually see the benefits of membership. It would be unfortunate if Earth proved an exception." The threat hung in the air like smoke. Miller exchanged glances with his team. They had expected this, practiced for it. Earth would play for time, appear interested but hesitant, while their real preparations continued. "We'll need time to consider your generous offer," Miller said carefully. "Our world's decision-making process requires consensus." "Of course," Marcus replied, his perfect smile never changing. "The Empire understands the need for proper procedures. We will remain in orbit while you deliberate." As the delegation returned to their ship, Miller watched them go. In his ear, Thompson's voice was grim. "Project Horizon is at 82% completion. Keep them talking for 3 more days." That evening, as the sun set over Geneva, the Empire's ship rose silently into the darkening sky. On screens worldwide, people watched its ascent with mixed emotions: hope, fear, wonder. But in hidden bases around the globe, humanity's real response was taking shape. The Empire thought they were dealing with a primitive species awed by their technology. They didn't know about the quantum computers hidden in the Antarctic ice, the dark matter reactors beneath the Pacific, or the fleet of ships waiting in the shadow of the moon. They would learn soon enough. But for now, Earth would continue its greatest deception, playing the role of an underdeveloped world while preparing to show the Empire exactly why humanity had survived countless extinction-level events to reach this point. The game was on, and Earth was playing for keeps. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that didn't officially exist, Dr. Anna Wells stared at the swirling mass of dark energy contained within a quantum field. Project Horizon's core pulsed with a deep blue light, growing stronger by the hour. power output has reached 90%, her assistant reported, checking the readings on his tablet. But we're detecting minor fluctuations in the containment field. Anna nodded, her tired eyes never leaving the core. She hadn't slept properly in days, surviving on coffee and determination. Increased the quantum stabilizers by 0.3%. We can't risk any energy signatures reaching the Empire's sensors. Above ground, the world continued its careful dance with the Imperial delegation. News channels broadcast endless discussions about the benefits of joining the Empire. Social media buzzed with speculation and debate. But here, 3 miles beneath the Earth's surface, humanity's true response was taking shape. Admiral Thompson arrived through the secure elevator, his presence announcing the importance of today's tests. "Doctor," he said, nodding to Anna, "I just come from a meeting with our guests. They're growing impatient. They can grow whatever they like." Anna replied, making final adjustments to the control panel. "This has to work perfectly the first time, or we won't get a second chance." The Admiral moved closer to the observation window, watching the dark energy core with a mix of awe and concern. "Explain it to me again, in simple terms." Anna took a deep breath. "We're bending space itself. The Empire thinks they're masters of faster-than-light travel, but they're just scratching the surface. Project Horizon doesn't just move through space, it moves space itself." She pointed to a smaller test chamber off to the side. Inside, a metal cube floated in midair. "Watch this," she said, pressing a sequence of buttons. The cube flickered, like a TV losing signal. For a brief moment, it seemed to exist in multiple places at once. Then it vanished completely, only to reappear a second later. "Where did it go?" Thompson asked, trying to hide his amazement. "Everywhere and nowhere," Anna replied with a small smile. "We shifted it into a parallel dimension, just like we'll do with their ships if they force our hand." Alarms suddenly blared through the facility. Red lights flashed as technicians rushed to their stations. "Energy spike in Sector 7. Someone shouted. Anna's fingers flew over the controls. "The containment field is destabilizing. Reroute power from the secondary cores." Thompson watched as the team worked to prevent disaster. These moments reminded him why humanity had a fighting chance against the Empire. Under pressure, humans didn't just survive. They excelled. The alarms fell silent. The core stabilized, now glowing with an even brighter blue light. Anna checked the readings and allowed herself a small laugh. "What's funny?" Thompson asked. "That wasn't a failure," she explained. "The system wasn't breaking down, it was breaking through. We just achieved 95% power, 3 days ahead of schedule." In the observation room above, screens displayed data from the Empire's fleet. Their ships hung in high orbit, weapons powered down but ready. They thought they were watching a primitive world struggle with the choice to submit or be conquered. They couldn't detect the quantum field spreading through the solar system, didn't notice the dark energy networks connecting Earth's hidden defense platforms, had no idea that humans had already mastered technology they thought impossible for lesser species to understand. "How long until it's ready?" Thompson asked, checking his watch. The Empire's deadline was approaching fast. 24 hours, Anna replied. "Maybe less. When they make their move, we'll be ready." Thompson nodded and turned to leave. At the door, he paused. "The Empire thinks they're dealing with children playing with sticks and stones." Anna looked up from her work, a fierce gleam in her eyes. "Then let them think that. The best trap is the one your enemy doesn't know exists." As Thompson's elevator ascended, Anna returned to her calculations. Above, the Empire waited, growing more impatient by the hour. Soon, they would learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their ability to make their enemies underestimate them until it was too late. The meeting room in Geneva fell silent as Imperial Delegate Marcus's hologram flickered to life. His perfect smile was gone, replaced by a cold stare that sent chills through the assembled human leaders. "Your time for deliberation has ended," he announced, his voice no longer carrying its false warmth. "The Empire's patience is not infinite." Captain Miller stood at the conference table, his face calm despite the tension filling the room. "We're still discussing the terms of membership. Our world's nations need." "No," Marcus cut him off. "You have had sufficient time to recognize the benefits we offer. The Empire has analyzed your responses and concluded that you are deliberately stalling." On screens around the room, new images appeared. The Empire's fleet was moving, spreading out in a pattern that military observers recognized immediately. An attack formation. "You have 48 hours to surrender and accept Imperial rule," Marcus continued. "After that, we will demonstrate why resistance is futile." The hologram vanished. In the sudden silence, phones began buzzing as reports came in from space monitoring stations worldwide. The Empire's ships were powering up weapons systems that made their previous scans look like toys. Admiral Thompson's voice came through the secure channel. "Their fleet is deploying. 12 capital ships, now showing energy readings off the charts. They're not hiding their capabilities anymore." Miller excused himself from the panicking room of diplomats and stepped into a secure chamber. "How many civilian casualties if they attack?" "Too many," Thompson replied grimly. "Their weapons could glass entire continents, but that's not their style. They want Earth's resources and infrastructure intact. They'll target military installations first, then government centers. And Project Horizon. Dr. Wells reports they're ready, just waiting for your signal to begin the final phase." Miller looked at the latest satellite images. The Empire's ships had taken positions that would allow them to strike any point on Earth within seconds. They were done playing nice. In orbit, Imperial Commander Marcus stood on his flagship's bridge, watching Earth rotate below. His true form was less human now, the diplomatic disguise discarded. His scaled skin shimmered under the ship's lights as he turned to his subordinate. "Prepare the demonstration strike," he ordered. "Something small. An uninhabited island should suffice. Let them see what awaits them if they continue to resist." But before his crew could comply, their sensors began picking up unusual readings from Earth's moon. Energy signatures unlike anything in the Imperial database started appearing and disappearing. "Sir," his science officer called out, confusion clear in his voice, "we're detecting quantum fluctuations, but that's impossible. Their technology is centuries away from." The officer's words cut off as their screen showed something that should have been impossible. A fleet of ships was emerging from the moon's dark side. Human ships. Not the primitive rockets the Empire had observed, but vessels that rivaled their own in size and complexity. On Earth, in the underground command center, Admiral Thompson watched the Empire's reaction through their quantum sensors. "They've spotted our lunar fleet. Time to show them what else they missed." Dr. Wells's voice came through the comm system. "Project Horizon is hot. Ready to deploy on your command." Miller took a deep breath. The next few minutes would determine Earth's future. The Empire had finally shown its true face. Now it was time to show them humanity's. "Send them our response," he ordered. Across the solar system, hidden quantum transmitters activated. The message that reached the Empire's fleet was short, clear, and carried more threat than any show of force. "You have 24 hours to withdraw. After that, we will demonstrate why attempting to conquer Earth was your greatest mistake." In his ship, Marcus received the message with growing fury. How dare these primitives threaten the Empire? They would learn their place, even if it meant. His thoughts were interrupted by new alarms. Something was happening to space itself around his fleet, and for the first time in his long military career, Marcus felt fear. Dr. Anna Wells stood in Project Horizon's main control room, her hand steady on the quantum controls despite the weight of the moment. Around her, dozens of screens showed the Empire's fleet, their weapons primed and ready to strike Earth. "All systems are go," she announced, her voice clear and confident. "Dark energy matrix at full power. Quantum field generators online." Admiral Thompson's voice came through the speakers. "The lunar fleet is in position. All ships report ready." The next few minutes would reveal whether 10 years of secret preparation had been enough. Humanity was about to show its cards, and there would be no going back. Captain Miller's face appeared on the main screen. The Empire's ultimatum expires in 5 minutes. Dr. Wells, begin the sequence. Anna nodded to her team. Around the world, hidden facilities powered up in perfect synchronization. Deep beneath the oceans, in mountain bunkers, and under the polar ice, humanity's true technological might awakened. In orbit, Imperial Commander Marcus watched his tactical display with growing concern. His sensors were detecting energy signatures unlike anything in the Empire's vast database. Space itself seemed to be bending around his fleet. "Impossible," he muttered, his scaled skin shifting colors with agitation. Their technology was primitive. We saw their rockets, their simple satellites. "Sir," his science officer called out. "Quantum distortions detected. They're everywhere." The Empire's fleet suddenly found itself surrounded by ripples in space-time. The human ships emerging from behind the moon were just the beginning. Hidden defense platforms appeared throughout the solar system, each one powered by technology the Empire had thought impossible for lesser species to achieve. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Anna's fingers danced across her control panel. Quantum field stable. Dark energy network operational. Ready to demonstrate capability on your mark. Admiral Thompson looked at Captain Miller, who gave a solemn nod. Execute Phase 1. A beam of pure darkness shot from one of Earth's platforms, striking the space near one of the Empire's smaller ships. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself appeared to fold. The Imperial vessel vanished, only to reappear a moment later half a kilometer away. The ship's crew was unharmed but badly shaken. Their sensors showed that for a fraction of a second, they had existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. That was a warning shot. Miller's voice broadcast to the Imperial fleet. The next demonstration won't be so gentle. On his flagship's bridge, Marcus fought to hide his shock. The primitives hadn't been stalling out of fear. They'd been waiting for their weapons to be ready. His own sensors confirmed the horrible truth. The humans had mastered quantum manipulation and dark energy technology that rivaled or exceeded the Empire's capabilities. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "I'm detecting more ships. They're appearing from quantum pockets all around us." The lunar fleet was now fully visible, sleek vessels that made the Empire's ships look crude by comparison. They took up attack positions, their weapons charged but not firing. The message was clear. Earth could have struck without warning but chose to show mercy. In the underground command center, Admiral Thompson watched the Empire's fleet closely. "They're powering down their weapon systems," he reported. "Running active scans, probably trying to figure out how we hid all this." Dr. Wells allowed herself a small smile. "Let them scan. The quantum camouflage is down now. They might as well see what they were really dealing with." The Empire had come expecting to find a primitive world ready for conquest. Instead, they found humanity at its finest, united, prepared, and far more advanced than anyone had suspected. Their choice was now simple: retreat with honor or face technology they'd barely understood. Captain Miller's voice carried across space once more. "Your 48-hour ultimatum has been rejected. You have 1 hour to begin withdrawal from our solar system. We won't require your surrender, just your departure." The Empire had set its sights on Earth, believing it would be an easy conquest. Now they faced the consequences of that mistake, and the galaxy was about to learn why humanity had survived every challenge it had ever faced. Imperial Commander Marcus paced on his flagship's bridge, his claws clicking against the metal floor. Earth's deadline was approaching, and for the first time in his 300-year military career, he faced a choice he never expected: retreat or risk destruction by a supposedly primitive species. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, "the humans are powering up their quantum arrays again. Energy readings are off the scale." In the Rocky Mountain facility, Dr. Wells made final adjustments to Project Horizon's controls. Target locked on their largest destroyer, she reported. Ready to execute on your command. Admiral Thompson looked at Captain Miller's image on the main screen. Both men nodded. The time had come to show the Empire exactly what they were dealing with. Begin the demonstration, Miller ordered. Dr. Wells pressed her hand against the quantum scanner. Initiating sequence now. All personnel, prepare for spatial distortion. The air around the Empire's destroyer began to shimmer. Light bent in impossible ways as reality itself seemed to fold. The massive ship, over 3 miles long, suddenly vanished as if it had never existed. Panic erupted across the Imperial fleet. Marcus grabbed his command rail as his sensors went crazy. Where did they send the destroyer? What happened to its crew? The answer came 30 seconds later. The destroyer reappeared exactly where it had been, completely untouched. Its crew was shaken but unharmed. Their sensors showed that for those 30 seconds, they had existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, experiencing time in ways their minds could barely process. Your ship and crew are unharmed. Miller's voice broadcast across all frequencies. We could have scattered their atoms across 1,000 dimensions. Instead, we gave them a glimpse of what we can do. The choice of what happens next is yours. In the command center, Thompson watched the Empire's reactions through their quantum sensors. Their ships were powering up engines, but not weapons. They're preparing to move, he reported, but not to attack. Dr. Wells studied her readings with intense interest. The dimensional shift worked perfectly. Their sensors will confirm that we could have destroyed their entire fleet without firing a single traditional weapon. The Empire's response came minutes later. Marcus's hologram appeared before Earth's leaders, his diplomatic facade completely gone. His scaled face showed a mixture of fear and respect that no human had ever seen on an Imperial officer before. Your demonstration has been received, he said carefully. The Empire acknowledges that we may have misunderstood Earth's level of advancement. Miller stepped forward. No, you understood it perfectly. We showed you exactly what we wanted you to see. Your mistake was assuming that was all we had. Around the solar system, more of Earth's hidden defenses revealed themselves. Quantum platforms emerged from dimensional pockets, each capable of shifting entire fleets into parallel realities. The lunar fleet moved into clear view, their dark energy drives glowing with barely contained power. We don't want war, Miller continued. We never did. But if you force us to fight, we will use every capability we possess. The Empire has conquered 1,000 worlds by showing up with overwhelming force. Today, you learned that strategy has its limits. Marcus's hologram flickered as he processed this. His next words would reshape the Empire's understanding of the galaxy. The Empire withdraws its demand for Earth's submission. We will depart your solar system immediately. A wise choice, Miller replied. When you report back to your leaders, make sure they understand. Earth is not a prize to be claimed or a territory to be conquered. We are not your subjects, and we never will be. As the Imperial fleet began their withdrawal, Dr. Wells watched their energy signatures fade. They're sending quantum broadcasts to their capital, she reported, no doubt warning them about Earth's capabilities. Thompson smiled. Good. Let them spread the word. The galaxy needs to understand that humanity won't be pushed around. The Empire had come to Earth expecting an easy conquest. They left with a lesson that would echo across the galaxy. Sometimes the most dangerous civilizations are the ones that learn to hide their strength until the perfect moment. 1 month after the Empire's withdrawal, Earth's first official diplomatic mission approached the Imperial capital. Their ship, the Horizon Asterisk, represented everything humanity had kept hidden, sleek, powerful, and capable of bending space itself to its will. Captain Miller stood on the bridge, watching the massive Imperial city planet grow larger in their view screens. Unlike the Empire's first contact with Earth, this meeting would happen on very different terms. They're scanning us. Dr. Wells reported from her station. She had insisted on coming, curious to see how the Empire's technology compared to Earth's now that they didn't have to hide their capabilities. Their quantum sensors are quite impressive, actually, just different from ours. The Imperial capital's defense fleet moved to escort them, keeping a respectful distance. No weapons were powered up this time. The Empire had learned its lesson. In the Grand Reception Hall, Imperial High Command waited nervously. The massive chamber, designed to intimidate visitors with its size and grandeur, seemed somehow smaller today. The Earth delegation walked in with quiet confidence, their simple blue uniforms a stark contrast to the Empire's ornate military dress. "Welcome to the Imperial Center," the High Commander said, his scales shifting to diplomatic colors. "We are honored by your presence." Miller nodded politely. "The honor is mutual. Earth looks forward to establishing a productive relationship with the Empire, as equals." The negotiations that followed would reshape galactic politics forever. Earth's representatives revealed carefully selected pieces of their technology, showing that humanity's achievements went far beyond just military power. "Our quantum medical techniques could help treat diseases across the galaxy," Dr. Wells explained, showing holographic models of their healing technologies. "And our dark energy reactors could provide clean power to worlds that need it." The Empire's scientists watched in amazement. They had assumed Earth was centuries behind them, but in many areas, humanity had taken completely different paths of development, reaching solutions the Empire had never considered. Back on Earth, Admiral Thompson stood in the underground command center, watching the diplomatic feed. "How are they taking it?" he asked Miller through their quantum link. "Better than expected," Miller replied privately. "They're starting to understand that we could have been a valuable ally all along if they'd just asked instead of trying to conquer us." The final agreements were signed after 3 days of talks. Earth would remain independent but would establish trade and cultural exchanges with the Empire. More importantly, Earth would be recognized as a major power in the galaxy, not because they demanded it, but because they had earned it. As the Earth delegation prepared to leave, the High Commander pulled Miller aside. "There's one thing we still don't understand," he said quietly. "How did you hide all this from us for so long?" Miller smiled. "That's simple. You saw exactly what we wanted you to see. The best defense isn't a strong shield or a powerful weapon. It's making sure your potential enemies underestimate you until it's too late." The Horizon departed the Imperial capital the next day, leaving behind a changed empire. Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Earth wasn't just another world to be conquered. They were something new, a civilization that had developed in isolation, taking unique paths to power, and now ready to share their knowledge with those who would treat them with respect. In the weeks that followed, other galactic powers sent diplomatic missions to Earth. Some came seeking alliances, others wanting to trade technology. All of them treated humanity with a respect that would have been unthinkable just months before. Dr. Wells stood in her lab, now working on peaceful applications of their quantum technology. "You know what the best part is," she said to Thompson during one of his visits. "We never had to fire a shot. Just showing them what we could do was enough." "That's humanity's real strength," Thompson replied. "Not the weapons we can build or the technology we can develop, but knowing when to show strength and when to show wisdom." The Empire had set its sights on Earth, expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they had discovered something unprecedented, a world that had quietly prepared for centuries, ready to defend itself if needed, but more eager to share knowledge than demonstrate power. In the end, humanity's greatest victory wasn't defeating the Empire, it was showing the galaxy a better way forward.